that. Okay, so recording now. Like I was just kind of giving the intro. Michelle G over here from Engadine, also Engadine, Rockdale and Peakhurst have just completed their first wave, their maiden wave. Now, when we completed our first wave, we were terrible. Like, we were just falling over each other. We didn't know where to start. We didn't know who these people were, etc., etc. And these guys rolled over and they had 15 people in their first wave. And what was your rollover percent?
Oh, at the moment we're at 82, but we've got one more potential.
Fucking
awesome.
It hasn't been easy and it hasn't been pretty, I can tell you that much. It's been really...
Exactly. Sometimes you've got to really scrap for it. This is what I was saying to Tash earlier on today. Is like anyone can fluke a 40 or a 50 or whatever, but to get from 50 to 82, you get scrappy. Like, sometimes you've got to get scrappy. So Michelle, just totally without notice here, can you kind of just explain how you guys did it? I know we haven't spoken yet, but...
Yeah, no, that's okay. I suppose just it's a bit hard. We're set up a bit differently. We've got multiple properties. I don't know how many of you guys have multiple properties. So I'm sort of sitting at the sort of, the admin side, and then you've got trainers down on the ground. We don't really have like a set studio manager, if that makes sense. We've got a head trainer and we've got sort of lead trainers, but not the typical setup. So for us, it was really about making the biggest thing was making the connection, and who was going to own the connection. For us, that was the biggest point, but not just in the induction night, but to continue that through. And it had to be every single class. You had to somehow re-engage that connection that you got from the Y. And it really anybody who you didn't do it to was the ones that fell through the cracks.
Fucking
and they didn't sign.
And just Michelle owns 7 businesses, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Ish? Yeah. So
it's why I can't show you my face.
Sorry to interrupt, but continue.
Yeah, no, so that was the big thing. The stamping of the cards has been huge.
Starter pass. They've got a starter pass.
Yeah, the starter passes were huge, right? And really high-fiving someone when they walked in and saying to them, your biggest challenge, you told me, was you didn't think you could do 3 classes in a week. This is number 4. As soon as they walk in the door, this is what I'm saying. This is what we would say to them. Or, you said that you would have your challenge being X, but you've already overcome this in week 1. How good do you feel? And it's a bit of work, I can tell you. You've got 100 calls a day regarding who's spoken to who and who last, how did they train this morning, did they turn up, me running reports again and again, people coming to inductions, but then they haven't turned up for a class, who's chasing them, they're not answering the phone. It's that's what I said, it wasn't pretty because it was scrapping around. But once we got them in and then we got the Y and we continued on that every day and made them feel good, got them a buddy, that was the key. So, we just followed the bouncing ball. What we were told to do, we did.
Exactly.
But staying on top of it, that was the key, because anybody who we engaged with on day 1, but really we hadn't got to them maybe till day 4, 5, they're the ones that started to lose interest.
And if we can hold on to our members for around the 12 months, they end up giving you around the $3,000, right? So at 85% of 15 people, it's about 12.75. We times that by everyone giving us $3,000 on average. That was a $38,000 week.
Yeah, so it was still worth it.
Not too many of them you need to be shouting a few rounds at Las Vegas.
Yeah. But it was also to educating the trainers too.
Totally.
Right. And finding out where our bottlenecks happen, like
weak spots. Yeah.
What prep work did they have to do the night before? Who did they see coming in? Where are they at in their stage of the cycle? How busy are the classes looking back to back? Is it going to be a problem having new people start, people that needed to roll over? wait lists on 2 classes. You know, people are going to show up. We're not going to be able to fit them in. Like, just like a lot more management on that looking forward, so that we did have 5 minutes to talk to the people with their passes and to give them a high five and talk to them, you know. But then you've got the other trainer on the floor trying to do a demo for 57 exercises by themselves, while the other person's trying to chat. So it was just managing forward planning as well was a big thing. But doable.
What does the team learn, you think, about themselves or about the process or about like connecting with people and things like that?
What have I learned? I think the organisational admin side of things has been a bit of a something they're not so used to as much, because this is taking it to the next level. It's not just, you know, you're a 7-day trial and you come, take your photo, do your waiver, let's go type thing.
Yeah.
It's there's the goals, and there's the paperwork for that, and there's the stamping of the pass, and there's, you know, that level. Plus, I said, like, I'm running my Kickstarter reports almost daily to see who's coming in, who hasn't come in, that type of thing. So I think that them keeping on top of that from an admin perspective has been something that they've had to step up for. And I think what the big takeaway is, I think they've been shocked at that connection thing, which they make naturally anyway, but how important it is that they had to do it quickly. In a real quick way, not, you know, sometimes over a couple of weeks they get to know people and, you know, they become part of the crew. They have to now do that within 2 to 3 days, which, they can do if they understand the why, but it takes a bit more work. So that's my feedback.
Questions. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. Questions. Question. Easy. I'll take you off mute, because I was hearing the car in the background then.
Oh yeah, sorry. When I drive, it puts me on mute for some reason.
That's okay. What questions do you guys have for Michelle? Because if you guys aren't at 84% or 80%, or if you're nowhere near it, and everything that Michelle just said then was like, hang on a second, we're not doing that. Ask me.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. That like 80%. I think we're in the same situation. Like this week, Tara. So after like the past 4 weeks of rollovers, we've had Tara dealing with, you know, all of the Kickstarters. But now, like this week, she has sort of stepped back from that. So now I'm like sort of stuck in no man's land where I have to delegate all these Kickstarts out to like my trainers, which is kind of, I don't know, not ideal. So I guess like my question is, I don't even know if it's a question. I just like, we have to have those pipeline parties every 2 weeks, and I have to
actually
have the team on board.
I forgot that. That's key.
The pipeline parties.
Yeah, twice a week. And we've got a folder now by wave, and everybody's got an individual sleeve for their information and their goals.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm an organizer.
You are, mate. I'm loving it. This is porn for me.
After the induction night, it's the trainer's responsibility to go through the wave and read the whys, every single trainer.
Yep, no, that's good. Do you have all the trainers at the induction, or just a few?
No, we don't. No, me or Dan, whoever's doing the induction, no, it's just one trainer. And then, like I said, they fill out the form, and our process is the day after induction night, the trainers in the break have to get out the folder and go through the people, look at their photo in the system and look at their whys and understand who they are. And then, you know, when they turn up the next day, they can go, hi, I'm so-and-so, and, you know, it's so good. Let's make sure we get consistency with you coming in 3 times this week, if that was their goal. And then the pipeline parties are with the lead trainer of the studio, and we will go through it off the pipeline spreadsheet where I'm highlighting danger people, and I'm highlighting, I can do this from home. Exactly. I highlight green, loving it, and I highlight red, danger. And they're the people based on how many times they've come in the last week. And interestingly, anybody who is opting out, I ran a report, on Mind Body, and it was simple. It was based on their first date booked in.
Attendance, right?
Yeah, but it was the first day they booked in, and how many classes I've booked post that first day over a period of time for that first wave. And anybody that was under a certain number of classes were the ones that didn't convert.
And that's the same thing, guys, for retention, right? Like we always talk about, like low sessions are the biggest leading indicator to a cancel.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
So
Michelle,
get
you
onto
said you
that.
run a report that's like every day, whether these people have booked in or not. Did you say that?
Well, I wasn't doing it every day, but if you do this, so you can do it every few days or every whatever
like
works
3
for
times a
you.
week?
Yeah. Because the thing is that you've got multiple waves running now. I have 4 waves now.
Exactly.
So wave 1's come to the conclusion, but I've still got another 3 waves in play.
That's right.
So what you can do is you can run, I tagged everyone. I created my pricing option is 28-day kickstart program. That's our one. So I can tag all my clients with that pricing option, and then I can go into booking first class and then attendance reports, and then just use the tagged clients of 28-day kickstart. So I can look at all of them through all waves, and we can just start to highlight potential problems.
That's a good idea.
It's just being on top of it, like so on top of it.
Yeah, and that's shocked us, I think, how much we've had to be on top of it. But when you put those figures into place of how much that actually equates to, it's like, okay, that's worth it.
Exactly right. Because, and here's the difference, right? If Michelle didn't do all that, and let's just say you got, because they run a real tight ship over it. So let's just say they only got 50%. So 50% of 15 is 7.5 people. So 7 people in a midget. Now, 7.5, let's just say that happens most weeks of the year, just like that. But we just cruised at 50 and didn't go to 80. And 7.5, let's just say that happens, for 45 weeks of the year, just picking random numbers out here. That's an extra 330 people. Like, that's what it adds up to.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it adds up to.
Interestingly, though, Wave 2's got some interesting trends coming through, which we've highlighted with you, Andrew, which we're going to discuss later.
Yeah.
With some people that have obviously come in for a price grab, which we didn't have. Wave 1 was genuine people. Wave 2 for us has some genuine price grabbers. So
yeah,
it's even if they're loving it and saying we've never learned so much at a gym, I could never have I never could have afforded this otherwise type thing. So I don't think that I would like to think that we get 80 to 90% every week, but there's going to be weeks where we have some usual rubbish in there, but they paid $100 and whatever dollars to do the thing, so at least it's not free.
Exactly. That would have only been a free trial. At least you made some money out of them.
Yeah.
And we use those people as practice for the team. Because they're still alive, they're still warm bodies, so still kind of practice on them. Make sure we're getting our behaviours right. Make sure that the team's still running the reports, they're still going through we use it as live practice. And it's a good way to and it's a good way to just make sure that you're still generating extra revenue, like new revenue stream out of these people.
Yeah, and they might still give us a nice message to someone else.
Totally. Exactly. What other questions you got, Kyle Tashin? It's all music to my ears, by the way. Just like that's following the instructions, following the processes, as well as sprinkling a few extra bits of seasoning on top, which is exactly how to do it. How
many trainers do you have, Michelle?
Yeah, we only run 2. Oh, what do you mean overall, or just on
trainers?
A session?
No. How many trainers do you hire?
Well, we run them across 3 studios, so it's a little bit.
And all 3 studios are across each other?
No, they're not. So we have our trainers run across all 3 studios, but there will be a lead person at each studio that will be in charge of and we have a head trainer that runs across 3. He's looking at it as well, and I'm looking at it. So there's three people with eyes on it.
on all three.
And I don't work. Yeah, I don't work in the gyms, but I sit at home and do the admin stuff and can hassle them. They know me. I do go in there. But the
I think my question was leading into how do you if you had 5-6 people, how are they across not so many people but so few people, but especially across 3 studios? How are you these 3 trainers, these 4 trainers?
The folder, like I said, we have the person who does the induction, right? And they've got to be the person that's the best at doing the induction, the one that's got empathy, the one that can make people feel comfortable, that type of thing. And the one that's going to be there, I suppose, the most consistently through that week. Then we have the folders, like I said, I've set up into waves where we've got all the information written, and it's everybody's responsibility who comes into the studio to make sure that they're reading up on that. And we also have a communication thread on an online one per studio where we'll go, so-and-so started tonight, really lacking coordination, really needs help on deadlifts, rah. We just write little messages to each other as well about how they train. And they're pinging all day long on my phone. So there's just a lot of communication.
And on top of that, at the pipeline party, they'll bring this all together as well, reiterate all that information.
Yes, the lead person does that. Yeah. The pipeline party for us is more about whoever's controlling the gym, whoever's that lead person at your gym. I meet with them and we go through the nitty gritty. Who are the ones who are going to sign? Let's just get them done now instead of waiting till week 4.
Exactly.
Let's tick off. Like I said, I've got them. I don't know if you've seen that in our pipeline, Andrew. I've highlighted it in green and I've got loving it or danger instead of the phone number at this point.
Yeah.
And then that's what we do. And we're like, just get rid of the greens. Let's get them out of the equation.
Exactly.
Sign them up, roll them over, and then start working on the dangers as to why we don't think they're not turning up. And at the same time, they're messaging them. We didn't see. They're not answering our calls. Where have you been? Remember your why, all that sort of jazz. But yeah, this is, I think, what we found hard. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of communicating about the clients, probably a whole level above what we were doing before in regards to the clients, because our waves between 10 and 15, we've got 4 waves between 10 and 15 people. It's massive compared to where we had before. You have a couple going through. So for us, it was like, crap, we've got to get on top of all these people. And the only way you get on top of it is constantly talking about them. Where are they at? How are they training? Do they like it?
And if you've got waves of 10 to 15, let's just say that, let's say 12.5 as an average times 4 waves, there's 50 people up for grabs. At 80% of that, it's an extra 40 members. Full price members.
This is huge. There are so many more people in our gym at the moment. It has been a bit of a head thing for us to get our head around it. We literally do have close to 50 people. We've got them in our gym running in through these 4 waves and staying on top of who they are and how they're training. It's full on, because we've got people on wave 4, like we're all scrambling to close wave 1 at the moment, but wave 4 are in their first week and we really need to make an impression on them.
Yep.
So this is now where it's going to get hard for us. And this communication and constant going through these people's names with the trainers to say how they're going is important. And like I said, you might have to put on another resource or yourself. Like I said, I'm almost like an additional resource helping to do this.
As the quarterback, right? That sits in the pocket between all the different waves and making sure that everyone's getting looked after and all the things are being done. Just as that sort of like
I'm the cleaner.
Last line of defense. Exactly.
You haven't answered that question in Slack that's been sent to you. What are you doing? Can you do that or can you not do that?
Yeah.
Have you rung that person for the induction? Or I'm even going back to Mike, Mike, you've got, who is our call guy? I don't know if everyone's getting calls. You said you were going to chase inductions. I haven't seen the inductions come through. So I'm just sort of like the cleanup crew.
That's why you're battered and bruised, Michelle. Show us your eyes, quick. No,
I'm not showing you. I look awful. But like I said, you might need to look at an additional resource or yourself if you're not already doing it.
So like they've made an absolute commitment. It's constant and there's communication like throughout the whole thing, all the way through. Like they are totally on top of it. The result is 85% this week. It's a 30 grand week.
Yeah, let's hope we can get more of them and we're not a one-hit wonder.
You guys are proving you don't fluke things. Third time world champ.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day when you were 50 F45s.
When you were allowed to as well.
Yeah, true.
Questions, guys. Questions. Do you have any questions? Tash, Kyle?
I've got a question. Michelle, you said it was critical that in the first 2 to 3 days that you had created that connection with the person. You said that was different to what you'd experienced before. In what way was it different? Or do you think it's just you didn't do it before and you just noticed the difference of when you...
Look, I think when people came in before, it's like, why are you here? I want to get fit and that. And you're like, okay, cool, great, come in and let's train and all that sort of stuff. But after we spent 30 minutes to an hour with these people going, what we do is when we say to them, you've got to give us your why, you're here to train. And I say to them, you cannot tell me you want to get fit and you cannot tell me you want to lose weight. And then they basically start crying.
Yeah, totally.
To that, I've had tears. They say, oh, it's this, whether that, I don't think my husband loves me anymore. I can't keep up with my children, or I feel so fat and ugly and whatever. And then once you've got that connection, it's this deeper, it's such a deeper connection with them when they come in the gym. And so after day 2 or day 3, when you're saying to them, they might have 4 children, they haven't slept for the last 6 months because they've got twins, because you've had this deeper connection with them. And you can say to them, day 3, I'm so proud of you for turning up. I know that getting 3 classes in a week was a massive commitment for you, given what's going on at home, but you've done it, which is before we probably were like, oh, you're killing the class, you're going so awesome, high fives. So it's just that deeper level of that, rounding it back to that why, to say, yeah, you're killing it and we know what you've got going on and we know your issues, and we're here and you're killing it type thing, which is more so, I think before we were still connecting with them, but it was a superficial connection, I'll have to be honest. It was that sort of high five, let's go team connection, as opposed to and you know what, it is a bit exhausting, because when you get everybody's story, you feel like a therapist, and that's what I'm saying about it hasn't been pretty. It's been a lot of work, but when you look at, say, those numbers, it may be worth putting more hours at it to make sure everybody understands why they've come into the gym. And what we are finding, it's interesting, we're getting the next layer down of fitness people in the area. It's funny, they're not the people that initially would come to us. They're not, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be a great client, but they're not the already existing coordinated fit person. They're a person sort of that one layer down that really needs a bit of help with their technique and a little bit emotionally, not as confident. It's we're noticing it is a very different style of client that hasn't responded to the typical F45 style of advertising before. Sure. But this style of advertising where they're really pinpointing that emotional thing of, are you unhappy? Do you not like the way you look, or whatever the questions say on the ads? It's a different style of client. So that's what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And so do you identify a lot of this stuff? Is this information, a lot of it gathered in that induction?
Yeah. Yes.
And you follow a very strict format for the induction?
Yep.
Yeah.
Questions, yeah. We go through it. And I think the key one is it throws them for a 6. Write down why you've come in here, what your goals are, but you cannot write, I want to get fit, and you cannot write, I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that just throws them for a 6.
And that's, done without fail. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll just be, oh my God, within 5 minutes, we're telling you everything. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's full on. But then you've got it and you go, right, we can help.
And then you've got the physical folder in the studio.
Yeah. I like physical folders. I think with the trainers, they're too busy to be getting online. If you've just got something they can grab and open.
And
I create that in.
How do you order that? Is it in date order as they come in? How do they know?
It's in waves. It's
Yeah.
in waves per the pipeline based on their induction and start dates.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just easy then. We flip through it, and then literally when they're rolled over, we can just put a cross through the front of their induction sheet, you know, even to wave one when they come in with the induction, and then we leave the photo and we leave an additional waiver form for the first day of class. So when that person comes in to start, we know they're coming in, and then the trainer that's on duty may not be the person that did the induction. Yeah. So it gives them an opportunity to connect with them to say, you know, hi Sally, I knew you were coming in, and they can take the photo and do the waiver thing with them, and then they form that little connection. And then when they put that in our folder, they write on the top of that they're in and they're started. So it's sort of basic, but for us it works better because whoever picks up that folder will, it knows where we're at, if that makes sense. And then from there I can update what's going on the spreadsheet, and then I literally on the waves I colour them that they're in training, because just because they've come to an induction, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to train.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm colour coding things. I've got yellow means they're in training, you know, and like I said, green is loving it, red is danger, and that's, you know, where I can sort of keep.
I've been thinking about getting like a physical folder type scenario going as well. Yeah. So that you've sort of got something.
I think it's easier so that the trainers, it's easier for them to physically manhandle as opposed to finding the time to get on a spreadsheet.
Yeah. Yes.
They can do it literally there when they're at work.
Like, 100%. And then later,
one of them they can open up that folder if they need to and reference.
Yeah, and then someone at one point in the week, the lead trainer, whoever, can update pipeline at a certain time in a day or something or whenever.
Or they can be photographed and sent through to the back office for that or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, we like the old school bits of paper.
That question, why are you here and you can't say to get fit or lose weight.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Because that cuts out the bullshit that everybody wants to say.
We do that. Every challenge information session night, we do that exact process, and we've been doing that for years. Why have you come in for the challenge information night? Why are you here? Why have you signed up for it? You cannot write to lose weight or get fit. Because who's been here for a while? Who went to the conference in Darling Harbour where that sports psychologist guy did a speech? Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember how he talked about you've got to get to that layer underneath? And you know, if you don't get to that layer underneath, you're not going to keep that person for a long period of time. Because if you say somebody wants to lose 5 kilos for so-and-so's wedding, well, what happens when they lose that 5 kilos? They're not going to
exactly.
They're not going to be invested to stay past that. But if you go, well, why, you know, you look great now. Why do you want to lose 5 kilos? If you get to that level below, then you're going to get them sort of a bit more invested to stay with you for longer than just that short-term goal. And it has resonated with me since I saw him speak. I thought he's so right. So that's why we asked that question. That's based off that guy and that speech at that conference. I picked up something useful.
Let's note that then.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. It's basically psychology, basically. No, it's hard work.
You also mentioned that so the trainers that are going on in the morning, the next day, they are reviewing their list of booked-in clients the night before, so that they're well aware of what's going to happen in the morning. Yeah. And okay.
And like I said, I've got the price. I've set them up with the different things, so it's very obvious that they're Kickstarters. That it's things differently to weekly membership and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to see.
Yeah, you can just have a quick look and it's there.
And to get them to talk together at the beginning of the shift when they're in there setting up in the morning. There's 5 Kickstarters in here in this first class. I'm going to focus on them. can you take the lead on the demos and the numbering and this and that and the other, because I've got the Kickstarters. Like, that's what our guys are having to do, because there's so many of them at the moment.
Yeah.
And then it just takes that pressure off that person who's going to be doing the connection, because he knows the other trainer's got his back, watching the clock, watching the turnover to the next class, starting the demos, while the other one's faffing around stamping the cards, you know, and high-fiving them and all that sort of stuff.
Well, we have 3 trainers on every morning, so
easy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, it's a interesting idea to have roles around who's going to do what. Whereas, I'm the head trainer at Gladesville, and regardless of 28 days being in there or not, it's my role to take through the demonstration, the introduction, the demonstration, and all of that. And then we move to somebody doing the warm up. One of my second in charge, or whoever's next in line to do the warm up. And now taking that another step is to me stepping away to even just talk to these 28 days. Have the third person dishing out the stations.
Yep.
I know this sounds terrible, but if you're the head and you're the lead, you're too valuable to do the demo. You need to be the one nailing those people who are leaving the class before, to get them to roll over or to be forming that connection. And if your seconds are good enough, they should absolutely be able to do the demo by, to start it. 100%.
Yeah, definitely not saying they're not. It's just a new thought process for us.
We always swap it around, because our guys get bored. Not bored, but you know what I mean? Like, one of them they'll do one on, one off, one on, one off in demos. They swap it every second one, just to one will be the lead person for the talk, and then the next class the other person will be the lead person, or they've pre-communicated, I've got too much to do with signing people up this class, you'll need to do the 3 type thing, or 4, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think, Atash?
Oh, lots of thoughts, Doze. Lots of thoughts. Always thinking.
You are, mate. You still there? Oh, sorry, Tash.
Yeah.
Go. I thought you wanted
No, go.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I'm a bit like Tash at the moment. Like, it's just like, anything with this is like, it's not a quick fix. It's like, you have to build up the foundation and get it all right.
But it's the commitment. Like, it's the commitment. Like, Michelle is all over it. And look, obviously have your players out there on the field, but never too far away from it. And just making sure. But
it hasn't been easy, guys. It hasn't been easy. It's been freaking consuming, and I'm not kidding you. There's been 100 phone calls a day going out to everybody. Where are we at? Did you message that person? Why haven't they got back? Where have they gone? Like, everybody's driving everybody crazy. But last night, when we hit that 82%, the joy throughout the team was amazing.
Seriously,
and it was a total group effort. But it's been hard for us to go, is this the system? Is this working? Because we've got another 2 studios that we haven't rolled it to yet, because we're trying to get the systems locked down. Because, we've got to make it almost dummy proof, so that whatever trainer's on the floor, the investment that we're putting into the money being spent on the advertising, if we can't convert it, it's a waste of time. So if the process is not there, it won't work. But it hasn't been easy at all.
Yeah, you've got to have a willingness to change and do something different without pushback from the team.
Yeah, and this is how I explained it to our guys and to the clients, because they're all like, what is this 28 thing? And why have these guys got passes? I want a stamp. And I'm like, I'll stamp you on your hand. Give you a stamp on your hand if you want.
Mate. Yeah.
But I explained to them, I'm like, guys, these 7-day trialers, we've had too many people coming in just trying to get a free training session. And then too many people coming in who haven't been committed to changing their lifestyle with us.
Totally.
And it's so much time for us to invest in these people, and they don't sign up. So, and how I explained it to the Engadine clients and the staff is that the Engadine market's very much a yo-yo. They'll come in for a challenge and then they'll disappear. And then they'll come back for another challenge. And we're like, we don't want it to be like that for you guys. We want consistency. So we're looking for the right person, get the right person with the right fit, invest some time understanding really why they're here and why they're motivated, and then work from there, and we'll get the right person in here rather than the person who's a tire kicker and wasting our time. I mean, you tell your trainers, they've got someone here who really wants to train, as opposed to somebody you know from day one. They walk straight to the thing, they put their bag in, they walk straight to the warm-up area and start doing, you know, lateral shoot-throughs with perfection. And you just go, you've already been to F45 before, and the trainers get really disheartened, you know. So we're just saying we're trying not to waste your time and get more appropriate people in for them to train that want to be there. And then on the other side, from our client's perspective, why are these people here? We tell them we're trying to get people here who are more invested in what we're doing and are here for the right reasons, and are therefore going to make a better community for you guys to be in. And they all go, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. You know, we can see them. They're so fun. You know, there are big smiles on their faces. And but you shouldn't be getting pushback from the
satisfaction
team.
of getting that 80%, Michelle, do you have an incentivization for your trainers to sign these people up?
Not at this point. Not at this point.
So it's all just intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, well, we just did something differently, I suppose, to a few people lately. We've got quite a few full-time staff because we've got multiple properties. So the people that I've got taking the lead, they're in my employees. So when we get moving to a better level, I might have targets for the gym in terms of the membership levels, like once we start getting to that. But it's not like they're a casual trainer being paid by the hour. These are my employees that are taking the lead. So and in the other studios, we do have incentive based around hitting targets on member numbers and retention, because there's no point, you know, losing 100 but then gaining 100. It's a waste of time. So not at this point, but like I said, they're permanent employees.
That's huge for these guys, or it should be.
Should be.
Yeah, paying their super, paying the holidays.
Absolutely.
All this, giving them a, you know, constant, you know, 38 hours a week, out any fuss type thing. But yeah, we will look at it down on the track. But we treat our staff. I think we treat them well anyway. But like I said, you might want to throw them an extra hour bone for admin, or a couple of extra hours if they're pushing back and they're paid by the hour.
We've got enough people that are on either permanent part-time with admin hours or full-time. We don't need to. The casual trainers don't need to be involved in that stuff.
No.
There's plenty of staff.
Okay. They're just pushing back, are they? In what way?
No. It's just a question. It's just a thought. No pushback. Just a thought on what you guys are doing.
Yeah, no. Like I said, my trainers are happier because these people have paid to be here, so it's very different from someone coming in on a free trial.
And they get it, right? Like your trainers get it.
Yeah. Well,
they see it. Like I said, we've got 50 people in the gym overnight. Bang, here they are. Yeah. It's for them. The vibe's up. They love it because they're training a better vibe.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Fresh meat.
Yes.
Is the way you think you need to, what do you think you need to do is to close the gap?
So
what are your first reactions? And then I want to come back to you, Tash and Kyle. What are your first reactions? So
my action is I think I just need to be on the team a bit more. I just I don't want to be super hassling. I'm happy to hassle them, and that I just don't want, I feel like when I push them too much, they'll just throw the towel in. That's probably a sign they're not the right people anyway. But I just feel like I'm just getting resistance from them. They just want to run through the motions, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, maybe not the right people. And you're the owner, right? Are you the owner, Tash?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your job to hustle.
Yeah.
You know, you know what? I'm sure they bitch about me. I'm sure they do. But at the end of the day, I've got to pay the bills, and I've got to, you know, make the money for my family. So, you know,
Yeah.
It's a hard. I'm a bit older. I don't know. I learned that lesson earlier on in life. You can't always be the friend, and you know, sometimes there has to be someone there whipping, you know, along in a nice way, constructive, giving them the tools they've got. Make sure they've got everything they need. Make sure they don't feel like they're drowning. Yeah, they might be going, shit, we don't know what to do. You know, maybe they're feeling a little overwhelmed. You know, so if you make sure they've got this structure where they've got the folder and they follow the bouncing board, this date, this time we do this, and they feel like they understand it, they might have more buy-in. They might be feeling overwhelmed, maybe.
Yeah. No, that's good. Like we already have, like, we do the same system. We've got a folder, and I've split it up into like 4 sections. So they've got like each wave. I'll just put all the induction forms, which has all their goals, in that group in each wave, so they know, like, they can flip to like week 1, these are our guys, week 2, these are our guys, and so forth. So we've got that. They just like don't use it. So like that's totally up to, like, on me for not just keeping them on the ball.
So that pipeline party, are you doing that?
Yes. Yep.
How many times a week is?
We do it twice.
Do they bring much information to that?
No.
Or do you feel like it's kind of,
I
remember who that is, kind of, but not really sure?
Like, I'll go through it and they know it. I'm just like struggling. Like I've set up a Slack channel for my team as well, and like it's like just me replying to me. Like it's like the Slack channel with me, and I'm just like say Tuesday, I put a screenshot of the pipeline. I said, these guys, like, these are our Kickstarters rolling over this week. Like, we need these rolled over by Friday. No reply. So today I'm like, okay, this person's booked in tonight. This person's booked in tonight. Like, we need to get an answer out of these guys. And I'm just talking to myself out here.
Maybe you need to call them out. Like, literally.
Do you call them? Literally call them.
Yeah. I'll do that.
And you do, and you say, you haven't got back to me. You haven't answered the question, what's going on?
Yeah.
Do you assign a particular trainer to each of your Kickstarters?
Well, we had one trainer looking after them, like them all. But now, like, as of like Monday this week, she doesn't want to do it anymore. So, so now I've got, like, I'm in the middle of like wave 5, and I've got 7 waves. So I've got like this wave and the next 2 waves that I have to kind of like assign out these guys just to get this wave over and done. But next one, like after this challenge has started, we're planning on like implementing the starter pass and doing the like assigning trainers to these guys.
I think one thing we did find helpful was to say to split the trialers or Kickstarters up into and like give them a person to be responsible for them. Doesn't mean they're the only person. Every person on the team needs to know about them, but at least there's, you know, you can go onto our pipeline and it says, okay, this is Kyle's person, or this is Levi's person, or this is whatever. It's if they don't see that person enough times, that's the trainer's responsibility to follow up with the rest of the staff to say, how's, you know, little Johnny going? He hasn't been to any of my classes, but he's been at your class and this class, and can you please follow up on that and make sure little Johnny's going all right? So it's not one person's responsibility, but each person has a person assigned to them. Each member has a person assigned to them.
Yeah, I think that will work really well. Like, I'm excited to get that started. I'm just like, it's a bit hard to sort of, you know, these guys are going into say week 3 and 4, and then it's just a bit, you know, now we're assigning them a person to look after them.
The people don't need to know that. It's just
it'll be like an internal.
Yeah. We started it like halfway. We just went, this isn't working. Today we changed the system. When we did that, it wasn't like we waited for a new event to occur.
No new wave. It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, okay,
like,
cool.
Right, today we change it because these people.
And the other thing with that is that you stop that group mentality of laziness. So the whole CPR thing, when you point at somebody and tell them to call 911 instead of just shouting out, call 911, and everybody looks at each other and says, they'll do it.
Yeah.
You get to say, you know, Kyle, where the fuck is John? And Steve, where's Abby? You know, like you get to point the finger in that Slack channel, and they have to, like, as much as it is like, here's a pipeline, this is great, you still get to say it in that group format, but also to an individual.
Yeah, no, that's good.
So when you're in the pipeline parties, then at least somebody's responsible. Like it's too much to ask for one single person to be responsible for 50 or 60 trialers. Like it's too much. But if you split it up, Plus, and then you might have afternoon people and morning trainers, and like
that's right, and you miss them. Yeah,
it doesn't always cross over properly.
Yeah.
Question for you, Michelle. How much are you guys? How much are you guys devoting? And the rest of the guys on the call, you might see why I'm asking this question. How much are you guys like placing importance of trying to call these guys when they're not in the studio?
It's definitely happening every day, but not after every call. So it might get to it. So it's probably something when we see maybe our conversion not working. It's not like, it's not happening. Like we don't go, oh, John didn't come yesterday. It'd probably be something, like I said, when I did that report and I did first visit and then how many visits since that first visit, could do that. Like I said, at the moment we're doing that like every, like maybe fourth day or something.
Yeah.
Because some people, you know, you don't want to harass the crap out of them when they just started too.
Totally.
So it's finding that balance, I suppose, between getting them after 4 days to make sure they've at least done 2 classes. Well, you know, depending on what their goal was. Yeah. But that report helps.
So that,
have someone looking after that.
The key is really nailing that induction so that you actually understand what they're doing there and
why they're there.
And then that is communicated across the team, and then every single person that they meet as they come through that studio door is going, how about that third session that you're trying to make this week?
And also the thing that I picked up as well, which I mean everyone should be writing this down, is you know, when Michelle said it was critical that within the first 2 to 3 days that you've made the connection.
Yeah, all right.
You're not waiting till week 2, week 3. Where is this bloke? Trying to get them on the phone. He's a busy lawyer in Paddington somewhere. Trying to get him on the phone. He picks up and he's really irritated because like, oh, fuck, I thought this was the call I was waiting for. And you're like, dude, you haven't been in the gym. He's like, never come back. Like,
I know. They don't want to hear you.
It's too late. Like it's too late by then. The first 24, 48, 72 hours is where you've got to find and fuse the connection. And it has to be deeper than just weight loss. I'm here to tone up. You've really got to ask yourselves, like, are you building relationships? And is your team building relationships? Is it a culture that you're sort of building those relationships that are at the deeper level? The real reason why they're there.
And that's why that's super hard. It's hard work. It's extra work. It's a lot more energy and focus.
But the result is like 12 to 13 people that you've helped them change the trajectory. Like not even the revenue. Like it's this week. Like your team can like really kind of pat themselves on the back and go, we've saved an extra 12 to 13 people from traveling down that road that they were not enjoying, which is the reason why I'm in this freaking industry. That's why I'm here. I'm not just here to roll up, press play on the iPad and shout out a few 3, 2, 1s.
Yeah.
I actually had somebody ask me today why we don't do that.
What? Just
leave them alone.
Yeah, no. She was a 14-dayer, so she's just a regular trial. She was like, "Why do you have all the screens and stuff if you guys are still going to walk around and do all the talking?"
You could point it to a few F45s that still do that.
I said, because if I wanted to do that, you could do it at home.
That was a bit nasty, Michelle.
I didn't name any names.
No,
I
no,
just said
no,
some.
no.
Just an extra level of service, Kyle, just in case you can't hear us. The room's really big.
I'm louder than the TV.
Well, that's what people. That's how competition in our area say. Why would you want? They say, why would you want to go somewhere where you've got a TV screen teaching you? I say the TV.
Do it at
screen's
home.
there
8-minute abs.
Point. I just say to them, it's a TV screen's there if you get lost. It's just a reference point to bring you back.
Yeah, totally.
I said, that's it.
Or at Gladesville, it could
It's
just
still
totally
recording.
confuse you.
It's just there to piss Aaron off. So did you guys, I'm conscious of the time, thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing all that. Did you guys find that useful?
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was
That's
awesome.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hopefully we
thank you.
can keep it going. Pressure's on now.
82%. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's going to be 80.
We were doing a dance last night.
Yeah, and so you should. So like the rest of the guys on the call, and we'll jump on and we'll sort of share where each other's at and what's working, what's not working, because I think that's going to be helpful for everyone. But like that's the standard, right?
Especially at this time of year. Like honestly.
Oh, I can't. Like seriously, how many people would sign up? That many people at this time in the year?
Yeah. Like we've hit 80%. So we've had 100% weeks in the past, but they're not in the first week of July.
Yeah, fucking oath, mate. Well done. Seriously.
Week 2 of in maintenance week 2, they're not.
Yeah, I know.
They are.
Honestly,
you know,
that's huge. Like seriously, like take it out.
Yeah. So
it's crazy stuff.
Take your team out, Michelle, to McCafe.
I just bought them a pair of red bloody shoes.
Oh, IPL's.
That's all right. I just got them red coat shoes.
But yeah, like if some of that stuff that Michelle was talking about sounded foreign, sounded too hard, sounded like, it's none of the stuff that you guys are doing now. It's all in those flow charts that I sent you guys. Like I've taken you guys through all of it, but I feel the little extra bits of spice on top that these guys have added to it. That's what you're going to do.
Mm.
So I'll follow up with you guys afterwards, and Tash, but really have a think about what are the next 3 things that you're going to do to put all that sort of stuff in action.
And for Tash, for your gym, like this could be a game changer for you as an owner. So I'd throw myself at it.
Yeah.
Just gotta find that time a day.
Oh, time.
I know. Oh, my children. Yeah, those poor children. Where's their mother? She's at the pipeline party.
Fucking oath.
Yeah.
I just noticed we've got 3 mums on the phone. How good's this? And Kyle. All right, guys. Well, I've recorded this, so once it's finished downloading, I'll put it back into your different Slack channels, so you've got it there as a resource. Play it back to your team. Do whatever you need to do with it, but do something with it.
Yeah. Levi has already asked for it, so
yeah.
For some reason, well, he might be actually asleep because he had to do morning and night today, so it's.